All right, so let's get a little background on you. Briefly describe how you make money in real estate and how long you have been doing it.
Okay, well, we just got started in real estate really past 2 years. Um, so I can say we're not making money yet.
All right.
We've had quite a bit of losses starting out. It's not a bad thing, but it's we're not making any profit yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just starting out.
Yes.
And what were you doing before we engaged? What were you trying to do?
Well, what we got started is my brothers and I combined some money to get started investing in real estate. So we're a partnership, right? There's 5 of us, and we all each put in 20% stake, and that's how we had Royal Legal Solutions form our companies, right? And so then once we formed the companies with RLS, once we found RLS and we kind of understood what they were trying to do as far as how they would protect the assets, we started looking for a property to buy. And last year in July, we found one, and we took the leap and started purchased the property and then started fixing it up. It was a distressed property.
All right. Okay. And was there any specific problems you were trying to solve or any frustrations you had before?
Well, at the beginning, trying to understand the RLS structure, good information on the web pages, but I did have trouble trying to understand how it would operate. I could understand the structure, but then how would it operate? What bank accounts we needed, how to structure those. Of course, I went to the bank and had troubles with the bank, trying to open business accounts under the LLCs, but we got that straightened out.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
One of the problems is, I was trying to understand anonymity, and the bank wanted my home address, right? Because they wouldn't take a PO box. We operate the businesses out of the PO box, but they needed a physical address. So it's like, well, if I give my physical address, isn't it not giving away my anonymity now? I talked to Megan, and Megan says, well, you could use our address, right? So actually my bank account address is the RLS Austin address.
All right.
I don't know if that's good or not, but I instructed the bank to send all documents to the PO box, and they've been doing that so far as I know. I would hope that if RLS got some of our mail, they'd be kind enough to let me know.
I'm sure they will. So do you think anything has improved since you started with us?
Yes, and then of course, then how to run these two structures. The operating company and the series LLC company. How to run those and how to keep books. I had a lot of questions. How does that supposed to work, right? And I was thinking, well, RLS should know because they set it up, and at first it was hard, like trying to get answers, like pulling teeth, I'd send a question in, usually you get a response within a day or so, depending if the folks were in the office or not, right? But a lot of times that response was not meeting all my needs, sometimes a little cryptic, just a short answer. And I really needed to talk to somebody. And when I tried to make an appointment, it was always a couple months out because they already had appointments that month or something. I was like, well, I can't be waiting 1 or 2, 3, 4 weeks to get it, talk to somebody. So I really was not using the RLS family office where I'm supposed to be able to talk to an advisor, right? Because the meetings were always too far out and my needs were now.
Yeah.
And I really like now that RLS has started these weekly meetings, and we do get a chance to ask a question here or there, but sometimes, we have to connect meeting to meeting, and learn a little bit at a time,
Yeah, exactly.
But I
It's a
do
process.
appreciate that effort. Um, I recently, they've had a couple of meetings that I haven't been able to join, which were just question and answer meetings. And I was like, well, those are the ones I really need, but I wasn't able to join. I had other engagements.
Okay. So what do you think has been the biggest impact since you worked with us for you?
Thinking back on it all, I really like what has been done. I like what's coming up forward with having the weekly, advisor meetings, on Zoom, because we get to learn a lot from not only from RLS but also from the other investors, right? Giving
Yeah.
advice on how to structure things and do things.
So
But
the community,
yeah, and some of what makes it a little bit more difficult for me is a lot of the examples RLS has and provides on their web pages, and also on their, whether it be a podcast or on YouTube or even during the meeting sessions, have to do with just a single owner, and it don't fit my structure, either tax wise or business wise, right? And so I always have to kind of figure it out around that, and that makes it difficult. But it's getting easier now that I've been operating for 2 years.
Yeah. So where did you first hear about us, and what piqued your interest?
At first, I was interested in, and I'm in Texas, right? That's where we're situated. At first, I was interested in getting a Wyoming LLC, and then having, LLCs under that, in the specific state in Texas, and operating our business that way, because I was trying to have just one tax return to do, a partnership return. And then as I did my research on the internet, I came across the RLS website and some of Scott's YouTube presentations. And I said, well, this sounds pretty good. I went through the website, learned as much as I could. And then I contacted RLS and it kind of set up our structure. I was disappointed that it turned out that now I have to do 2 tax returns, right? One for the operating company and one for the series company. It's a little bit more work, but it works. But now I'm having trouble. It's like, well, how do I switch money back and forth, and how does that work tax wise? And that took a lot of figuring out on my own. And when I would ask some tax questions, a lot of times the response I got was, well, consult with your CPA. Well, I'm just a small business. I don't have a CPA yet. We haven't gotten to that point. I mean, maybe we should, but like I said, we're not making any money yet. So I had to figure out. That's another thing to figure it out. I did get some clues in some of the answers, but it was fairly difficult. And I would always think, well, our RLS should have some of this answers already, since they set up the structure, right? But I couldn't find a good operating manual anywhere. Say this is the way it should work. This is what's suggested.
Yeah.
And that's what I lacked all the time is, how does it operate?
Exactly. Okay. So why did you decide to do business with us?
Well, I needed to form the entities, and RLS really, when I looked at pricing, RLS pricing was not that bad, and they promised a support structure. And so I said, well, that's good. I can work with somebody. I can always have a contact, because if you look at some of the other formation entities out there that will form your business and stuff, it's basically that. Even if you go with a lawyer that does that, they formed the business and stuff, but it didn't really promise an ongoing support structure, and RLS did.
Yeah.
And so that really, that bought me into the RLS program.
Okay. Yeah. And yeah, can you describe working with us and where you get the most value?
Yes, the value really has come with the weekly YouTube. I'm sorry, not YouTube, but Zoom meetings, and getting to know the folks at RLS, and that has helped a lot. It breaks down that barrier to start communications. Whereas at the beginning, I was like, well, should I call or should I not call? And now I feel free to send like Megan Templeton an email, or Pete an email, or under the chat channel, send them a note, and like I said, they'll respond depending on how busy they are, but within a day or so, I've got an answer.
That's great. Great. So how likely are you to recommend us?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
How likely are you to recommend us?
Oh, I would. It's a good structure. I think it works very well for a single member entity. It would probably work real good for me by myself, a lot better. I could understand it tax-wise a lot better. But like I said, we're a partnership, so it just makes it more difficult. But we're getting through it. Once you start understanding it, start understanding some tax law. So like I've become my own CPA doing this. I'm sure I don't understand it all, but hopefully I'm not making any big mistakes that somebody will come after me.
So, and last question, why should someone listening take action right now and join LLS?
You're going to spend the money out there anyway, forming an entity and, running your business. So you might as well get a team of folks that can help you do this too. And you're not going to spend that much more money. The pricing structure is pretty reasonable under RLS.
Okay, thank you.